Hello, my name's Dick Sturgeon. I'm a workers advocate for an organization called Workers Have Rights Too. We're a nonprofit organization that is dedicated ourselves to educating workers that they do have rights and they do have responsibilities. We are no longer able to actively represent workers, but we're trying to empower workers to be able to represent themselves. For today's program, we have Deb Borg here with me, who is a workers advocate. We've worked together for years. You're presently, I understand, working for a labor union here in town.
Yes, I am.
And what union is that?
I'm with Labor's Local 430 here in Sioux City.
Well, great. We have several different things we want to talk to you about during this program. It's not just dedicated to one thing. And these are items that we've had calls on, or that we've seen in the newspaper that we feel are a concern. And Deb has a list here she's going to be going over.
Right. The first one on my list, the state legislature is back in session in Des Moines. And are there things that we should be aware of?
There are, and a year ago we talked about this very same thing. But in the Sioux City Journal, they publicized the Chamber of Commerce's goals for this year for the lawmakers in Des Moines, and some of them are quite concerned to us. Presently, they pay employers pay unemployment compensation fee into the state of Iowa, and it's based upon a maximum. They stop at $22,800. So if a worker makes over that, then they don't have to pay on that wage. And one of the things the chamber wants to do is lower that. They point out that states around us, employers only have to pay on $12,900. And the problem with that is that the employer is going to be paying less into this trust fund,
Right.
and the trust fund has in the past went broke. To cut the trust fund in that amount during the time when we are heading into rough employment situation is not a good idea. But that's one of their goals. One of their other goals is that they want to create a 1-week waiting period for unemployment. And to me, that's unexcusable. I know that most of those people don't live paycheck from paycheck like most hourly workers do, but 1 week without any income is a disaster to an awful lot of families.
Exactly.
There's rent's not paid, utilities aren't paid, food, they can't buy food. And that is just another effort into reducing the amount of money that the employer has to pay into that fund. The big thing in Des Moines that we tried to do last year, and we have a Democratic House and Senate this year, and a Democratic governor, and we should be able to get it done, is to make it so that an injured worker can go to a doctor of his or her own choice. Injured workers are the only people I know now who are told what doctor they have to go to. And again, that's unexcusable. We have seen company doctors return people back to work in packing plants when they can hardly walk up the ramp. The Chamber of Commerce has it as one of their goals to keep that law the way it is and not to bend to pressure to change it. One of the things I warn workers about, and you'll hear this an awful lot, that the chamber and the different business groups want to make Iowa a business-friendly state. And that's fine, and we need that in order to produce jobs. But when they talk about regulatory reform and lowering costs to businesses, the worker is usually the one that catches it.
Right.
The worker is the one who suffers. The regulatory reform, they're talking about taking the restrictions away that impede production. They're talking about OSHA. They're talking about things that where the state can come in and tell the employer what to do. So the only thing I can say, and especially in the state of Iowa, is for workers to stay alert, watch the news, read the paper, look on the internet, and let your lawmakers know where you stand on these things, because they're certainly hearing from the employers.
Oh, yes. We've previously done a program, and it was on items about what workers should not sign. Have you seen a lot of this problem lately?
You know, I have, and it's really shocking that some of it is resurfacing again. Employers are, you know, what employers know when the weakest that they find a worker is when they're in the process of hiring them. They can get employees to agree to just about anything, and a lot of times they shove a stack of papers in front of them, and the worker would just go ahead and sign them. But recently we've had workers that have been given a agreement by the employer to sign that says that they agree that any time during their employment that they can be subjected to a drug test, which is not according to Iowa law, and a polygraph test, lie detector test, which is against both federal law and Iowa law. Also, the non-compete agreement. We have seen non-compete agreements which prohibit you from jobs that the jobs that you know best you can't do if you leave that employer. And we've seen that used in occupations which they have no business using it in. Those things are enforceable in an awful lot of the cases, and workers should know that if they sign that, if they're a TV engineer and they sign that and they lose that job, then they're going to be prohibited for 2 years or so from being a TV engineer in Sioux City, Iowa, or anywhere in the immediate area. So I know it's awful tough to say to a prospective employer, no, I won't sign that, but you've got to think of the rest of your working days too.
Exactly, you do.
And they can really mess that up. And the third thing is where employers are still asking workers to sign an agreement saying if they have a dispute with the employer over anything, they'll be handled by arbitration. And that is just totally wrong. Workers have to hire attorneys to do that rather than go to the Civil Rights Commission in Des Moines. They have to file a grievance and an arbitration. They have to hire an attorney to handle their case, which costs money up front. They have to pay the arbitrator. U.S. Department of Labor and Iowa Workforce and different agencies handle workers' problems for nothing. But if they sign that arbitration agreement, those agencies can help. So again, it's awful hard when you're hoping to get hired to say, no, I won't sign that. But you have to think of what's best for your family and what's best for your future.
Right. Look out for yourself on that, definitely. Many companies have adopted a so-called no-fault attendance policy. And what can a worker do about these policies?
Well, you know, there's really not an awful lot that a worker can do if the company has a policy like that. Some suggestions I have, though, is that they should understand the policy. A lot of times if you have 1 day absence, that counts as so many points. But if that stretches out to be 3 days consecutive, it's no extra points. And a lot of people will be off sick one day and think they're feeling good enough to go back for a day and find that they can't and be off again, and that's double the points they lose off of this plan. You get so many points, you're suspended or you're fired. The other thing is to learn what like if you're not feeling well and you think about going in late, but that's going to cost you more points than if you were to stay home all day. You might think about that too. Keep track of the points. So many people I know have gotten in trouble by not knowing how many points they had and missing a day and find that they went over.
Exactly.
You know, the main thing though is try to be to work whenever you can. I remember working at Sioux Tools when I would think about not going in, that the deciding point to me would be where that day's wages is going to come out of the budget. But also the family medical leave in a lot of cases, and we're going to talk about that in future programs, might cover the person. If they're covered by the family medical leave, they can't count that absence against them. Document your call-ins. Keep your phone bill so you can prove that you actually did call in. Document the reason. But one of the main things is use common sense. I had a nurse's aide who went to the doctor, had terrible flu, and was told that she should stay home and that she definitely should not go into the care center around those fragile people with that flu. She called the nursing director and told him, I can't make it in. The nursing director says, you either come in at 11 o'clock on your shift or you're fired. Well, common sense says she just didn't do that. And she decided not to do that. The next day when she went in, she told the director of nursing, all right, you fired me, but I'm going to be on the phone calling Des Moines to the agency that regulates nursing homes, because that would be very dangerous to the residents.
Yes, it would. How can the internet help a worker who has employment questions?
Well, you know, it's one of the greatest assets that we have. You can get on the government websites and read your rights. You can go to the Iowa Workforce Development and click into the different workers' comp or to the employment services, and you can read what your rights are. You can go to firstgov.gov, which is a federal listings, and you can go to the U.S. Department of Labor and read that. You can actually go and do some research so that you know what your rights are.
Right.
One of the things you want to be careful about, you want to get your information from an official source. You don't want to get into a blog and find somebody that is giving bad advice, because that could probably get you in trouble.
Oh, yes.
The National Labor Relations Board has a wonderful website, and you can do research, you can read decisions, you can get pointers from there. You can go and read court and agency decisions also. But it's a really good asset, and if you don't have a computer, get down to the library, you can use it there. We used to in our office let workers come in and use it, but it's a great asset.
Okay, that's great. I see we're getting close to being out of time.
Yes.
So
I want to talk to you just a little bit about the cold weather and the winter conditions that we have outside. And one of the things to remember is that if you slip and fall, parking lot, an employer's sidewalk leading into the business, or on the job site, those things are covered by workers' comp, as is frostbite or effect of the cold also are covered by workers' comp.
Okay.
OSHA requires the employer to provide a safe workplace.
Exactly.
And keeping somebody out in 30-degree below zero wind chill for extended periods of time is not a safe workplace.
No, it's not.
2 or more workers ought to band together and simply say, that's it, we're going to go and get warmed up. The employer cannot do anything against them if they do that.
That's right.
We are getting short on time, and the time does fly by.
It does.
We haven't got to the end yet of our list, but we want to thank Morningside College for the facilities here, and for Siouxland Community Media for producing this program and allowing us to come on and tell workers what their rights are and what their responsibilities are.
Yes.
Thank you.